Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Geographical Enlightenment disguised as thinly veiled amusement. Today we're setting our sights on a landlocked nation in Central Europe that's small in size but big on charm and beer. That's right, folks, we're talking about Czechia. Now, you might be thinking, Czechia, isn't that the place with the unpronounceable names and the castles that look like they were stolen from a Disney set? And to that I say, well, you're not wrong. But there's so much more to this charming little nation than meets the eye. Over the next few minutes, we'll be delving into some of the most hilarious and surprising facts about Czechia, from its beer-loving populace to its peculiar patron saint who may or may not have had a thing for horses. So buckle up, grab yourself a Pilsner Urquell, which, spoiler alert, is Czech, and get ready to have your mind blown, or at least mildly entertained, as we embark on this whirlwind tour of Czechia. Czechia, my friends, is a country that boasts more castles per capita than any other country in the world. Seriously, they're like Starbucks over there. You can't throw a rock without hitting a turret or a moat. Now, this abundance of castles might conjure up images of fairy tale princesses and dashing knights, and you wouldn't be entirely wrong. On a sunny day with the rolling hills and vineyards as a backdrop, Czechia could easily double as a film set for your favorite Disney classic. But here's the catch. Flip the switch on the weather, shroud the sky in a thick blanket of fog, and those very same castles transform into something out of a gothic horror novel. Suddenly, those charming turrets start to look like menacing watchtowers, and the once picturesque drawbridges become potential death traps. We're not exaggerating when we say Czechia is teeming with castles. We're talking over 2,000 castles, chateaux, and fortresses, a number so large it's practically a statistical anomaly. Imagine, if you will, trying to visit all of them. You'd age a decade in castle years, and that's not even factoring in the time spent climbing all those winding staircases. Now you might be wondering, why so many castles, Czechia? What were you so worried about? Well, historically speaking, this region has seen its fair share of turmoil. From warring empires to marauding invaders, everyone seemed to want a piece of the Czech pie, probably because it was served with a side of dumplings and a pint of delicious beer. Czech castles run the gamut from grand royal residences to crumbling ruins that whisper tales of bygone eras. There's something for everyone, really. If opulence is your thing, then Český Krumlov Castle, with its sprawling gardens and ornate interiors, will have you feeling like royalty. But if you're more of a history buff with a penchant for the macabre, then a visit to Hauska Castle, rumored to be built over a gateway to hell, might be more your speed. Just remember to pack a flashlight and maybe a priest, for good measure. Now let's talk about something near and dear to every Czech heart and liver, for that matter. Beer, my friends, is not just a beverage in Czechia, it's practically a national religion. They consume more beer per capita than any other country in the world, which, if you think about it, is a remarkable feat for a landlocked nation. Where are they getting all that hops and barley from? Are they smuggling it in through secret underground tunnels? The logistics are mind-boggling. But let's be honest, who can blame them for their devotion to the golden nectar? Czech beer is world-renowned for its quality, flavor, and ability to make you forget you're wearing lederhosen in public. From the crisp, refreshing Pilsner Urquell to the rich, malty goodness of a dark lager, there's a Czech beer out there for every palate. Legend has it, and by legend I mean something we totally made up, that the Czech preference for beer over water stems from a time when the water supply was a bit dodgy. Imagine, if you will, a medieval Czech village where the well water tasted suspiciously like a troll's gym socks. Faced with such a dilemma, the resourceful Czechs turned to beer as a safer and, let's be honest, far tastier alternative. Now, we have no historical evidence to support this claim, but it's a good story, isn't it? And frankly, in a country where beer is cheaper than bottled water, who are we to question their logic? In Czechia, the love of beer runs so deep that they've even incorporated it into their spa treatments. Yes, you heard that right, beer spas. Now, before you picture yourself soaking in a giant vat of lukewarm Pilsner, let's clarify. These spas offer baths in a special concoction of beer yeast, hops, and other natural ingredients, purportedly beneficial for your skin and overall well-being. Do they work? Frankly, we have no idea. But if nothing else, it's a great excuse to tell your friends you went to a spa and came out smelling like a brewery. So, you think you know about Christmas carols, do you? Well, buckle up, because we're about to delve into the weird world of Czech saints. You see, tucked away in the annals of Czech history is a fella named Saint Wenceslas, the patron saint of the Czech Republic, no less. Now, I know what you're thinking, another saint, how original, but hold your reindeer, because this isn't your average halo-polishing holy man. See, Wenceslas here wasn't just a pretty face on a stained glass window. Oh no, this was a man of action, a duke, a leader, and potentially, just maybe, a tad misunderstood. And by misunderstood, I mean the kind of fellow who could inspire a Christmas carol one minute and then have you questioning everything you thought you knew about sainthood the next. Because let's be honest, when you hear good King Wenceslas looked out on the Feast of Stephen, you're probably picturing a benevolent ruler, right? Maybe someone who enjoys a nice cup of cocoa by the fire while humming carols? Well, hold on to your stocking caps, because the reality might be a tad more eventful. Wenceslas, you see, wasn't exactly known for his chill demeanor. In fact, his life story reads a bit more like a medieval soap opera, complete with political intrigue, family drama, and a dash of good old-fashioned murder. Now, history, as we all know, is written by the victors. And in Wenceslas's case, well, let's just say the folks in charge of the quill might have taken a few liberties with his public image. The official story goes something like this. Wenceslas, a devout Christian, was betrayed and murdered by his own brother, Boleslav the Cruel. Brutal, right? Makes you want to go hug your siblings, assuming you haven't already plotted their demise in a family game of Monopoly. But here's where things get a little murky. You see, some historians believe that Wenceslas might have been a tad more proactive in his own demise. Now, I'm not saying he was out there challenging people to duels while wielding a frankincense burner, but let's just say there might have been some miscommunication. Imagine this. Wenceslas, full of righteous fury over his brother's less than saintly behavior, decides to confront him. Maybe he throws in a few choice words, perhaps a stern finger wag. Boleslav, being the sensitive soul that he is, totally misinterprets this as a declaration of war. One thing leads to another, and bam! Saint Wenceslas ends up a martyr. It's like that awkward moment when you accidentally reply all to an email with a sarcastic comment, except instead of a passive-aggressive reply, you get assassinated. History is wild, folks. So, there you have it. Saint Wenceslas, patron saint of the Czech Republic, a man of faith, a supposed martyr, and possibly, just maybe, a victim of his own righteous indignation. It's enough to make you want to pour one out for the big guy, preferably with a nice Czech beer, but we'll get to that later. The point is, Wenceslas's story, like many historical narratives, is a tapestry woven with threads of truth, legend, and maybe a few embellishments thrown in for good measure. But whether you believe he was a peaceful saint or a slightly less than diplomatic ruler, there's no denying that his legacy looms large over the Czech Republic. And hey, who doesn't love a good story, especially when it involves saints, murder, and enough historical intrigue to make your head spin faster than a dreidel on Hanukkah? Just remember, the next time you're belting out good King Wenceslas after one too many eggnogs, spare a thought for the man himself. He might have been a saint, but he was also a product of his time, a time when sainthood might have involved a bit more bloodshed than your average Christmas carol lets on. All right, let's talk about Czech innovation. They gave the world contact lenses. Imagine a world without them. Everyone stumbling around like Mr. Magoo, chaos. But the Czechs, in their infinite wisdom, saved us. We salute you, Czech Republic, for saving us from a life of squinting and fumbling. So, who was this visionary genius who liberated us from spectacles? His name was Otto Victor. In 1953, during the Cold War, inspiration struck him on a train. He envisioned a soft, gel-based contact lens. After years of research, in 1961, he unveiled the first soft contact lens made from hydrogel. It was a game changer. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so the Czechs invented contact lenses. Great, what's next? Are you going to tell me they also invented the spork? And to that, I say just wait. The Czech Republic's contributions to the world are vast and surprising, just like their beer selection. But before we move on, we need to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the slightly unnerving mannequin head in the museum. You see, to test his early prototypes, Victorla needed a human-like surface. And what's more human-like than a cold, lifeless plastic head staring into the abyss? Don't worry, he eventually upgraded to a more, shall we say, ethical testing method. But those early mannequin head trials have become the stuff of legend, a testament to Victorla's dedication and perhaps his slightly eccentric side. So, the next time you pop in your contact lenses, take a moment to appreciate the ingenuity of Otto Victorla and the Czech Republic. And maybe, just maybe, give a silent nod to those creepy mannequin heads who helped pave the way for a world with clearer vision. Okay folks, buckle up because we're about to delve into the wonderfully weird world of Czech Easter traditions. And let me tell you, Easter in the Czech Republic is not for the faint of heart, or the thin-skinned for that matter. You see, while the rest of the world is busy hunting for eggs and indulging in chocolate bunnies, the Czechs are celebrating Easter Monday with a slightly more, let's say, hands-on approach involving braided whips and a whole lot of questionable consent. Yes, you heard me correctly, whipping. Now, before you go calling the United Nations Human Rights Council, let me explain. This isn't some sort of medieval torture ritual, well, not exactly. It's a tradition called pomlázka, and it involves men and boys lightly whipping women with a special type of whip made from willow branches. I know, it sounds absolutely bonkers, but stick with me because it gets even weirder. Now, these aren't your typical whips. They're called pomlázka, which, fun fact, also translates to rejuvenating switch. These whips are beautifully crafted, often adorned with ribbons and colorful threads. Think less Indiana Jones and more artisanal craft fare. The tradition dictates that men and boys go door to door on Easter Monday, gently whipping the women and girls in their village with these pomlázka whips. And here's where it gets really weird. The whipping is supposed to transfer the willow tree's vitality and youthfulness to the women. Because, you know, nothing says happy spring like a light lashing to ward off wrinkles and maintain that youthful glow. It's basically a medieval Botox alternative, but with more screaming and potential for welts. Now, I'm not sure what kind of willow trees they have in the Czech Republic, but I'm pretty sure willow branches in my neighborhood mostly transfer bird droppings and the occasional squirrel infestation. So what do the women get out of this slightly bizarre Easter tradition? Besides a slight sting and a healthy dose of skepticism about the whole rejuvenation thing, they are rewarded for their participation. The men who whip the women are usually offered painted eggs, sweets, or a shot of slivovitz, which is a potent Czech plum brandy. And that's probably the only reason this tradition has survived for so long. Frankly, if someone offered me a shot of slivovitz every time I endured a light whipping, I'd probably sign up for a whole week of it. But don't worry. In recent years, the pomlázka tradition has become more symbolic, with the whipping being more of a gentle tap. And most women see it as a bit of harmless fun, a chance to celebrate spring and maybe enjoy a shot or two of plum brandy. So there you have it, folks. Easter in the Czech Republic, where the eggs are painted, the brandy flows freely, and the willow branches are surprisingly flexible. Well, there you have it. 5 facts about the Czech Republic that are guaranteed to make you laugh, scratch your head, and maybe book a flight to Prague. We've covered everything from their impressive collection of castles, perfect for a fairy tale weekend or a low-budget horror film, to their unwavering devotion to beer. Apparently it's in their constitution, or at least it should be. We've explored the legend of St. Wenceslas, the patron saint of questionable parking decisions, and marveled at their groundbreaking invention of contact lenses. And let's not forget the unique Easter traditions involving willow whips and the promise of eternal youth, or at least a shot of plum brandy. So what was your favorite Czech quirk? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more pointless but entertaining journeys around the globe. From all of us here, na zdraví, or as we say in America, stay curious, my friends.